In space, everything is infinite. Innumerable galaxies. No beginning, no end. Space. An unquantifiable, expansive expanse.
How to quantify the expansiveness?
Não dá para quantificar o inquantificável.
Tell us more.
But one day, the galaxies began to collide. Time and space became limited. Competition, a fight for survival, took shape. And the galaxies demanded the champion.
This totally makes sense.
Wait, she gets to do the whisper thing too?
Por que a gente tá sussurrando?
宇宙里哪来的声音？
For months, the Earth's greatest tacticians battled it out across the globe, transcending both time and space.
That doesn't sound physically possible.
Eles acabaram de competir em classificatórios online e regionais.
我怀疑他不懂天体物理，他单纯在整活儿。
To prove themselves worthy of competing in the ultimate competition of competitive competitors.
Okay, that is just lazy adjective use.
Alguma parte disso faz mais sentido em inglês?
我是来帮大家了解云顶之弈银河战争总决赛的。
You guys, that's what I'm doing. But anybody can say, hey, the first ever TFT Global event is finally happening September 3rd and the 4th, where 16 of the world's greatest tacticians will be battling it out for their piece of the $200,000 prize pool. But I'm trying to have fun with it.
Sick.
Sick.
Welcome to Day 2 of the Teamfight Tactics Galaxy Championship. After a third set complete with adventure and wonder, it's finally time to send it off with a big bang, crowning a champion in the process. I'm Gabriella La Tigress Devia Allen, your host for today, with a plethora of experts on the way. Yesterday, we whittled down our final 16 to the final 8. But the journey for the Galaxy Championship started long before that. Luckily for us, we got some words from the people that have made TFT Esports possible. Let's have a listen.
I'm TJ. I'm the lead producer on Teamfight Tactics.
Hi, I'm Waylon Roselle. I'm the Senior Director of Esports at Riot Games.
When we were first making TFT, esports wasn't actually top of mind, but once we saw the players' passion and demand, that passion is kind of what sparked us knowing that esports was the right next move.
We knew last year that we weren't ready for global competition, but we knew that the demand was growing. Invitational sort of gave us an outlet to create a more controlled environment that allowed us to test things like competitive formats and broadcast formats. The positive reaction to the Invitational really gave us confidence as we were planning out our competitive ecosystem. We believe that TFT is a game that is played and enjoyed all over the world, and we thought that the esports should reflect that. And that's why the TFT Galaxies Championship has representation from players who've competed from all these different regions and are coming together to vie for the crown.
And because we refresh the set every 6 months, we wanted that to be the staple of who is the best player this set. Because each set brings different mechanics and requires different skills to kind of prove if you are the best. So we wanted to kind of put a stamp on, hey, for Galaxies, this was the best player.
The best part of seeing esports during Galaxies was just seeing all the different tournament organizers across the globe in many different regions. I'd say that the biggest learning is that we have this wonderful community of competitive TFT fans, whether they're tournament organizers or pros or fans, and we can do a better job of integrating their efforts into sanctioned competition of TFT going forward.
One of the major key learnings throughout TFT set development is that we actually need to invest in tools that make the esports experience better for viewers, for third-party developers, and for us.
Our dream is to have really, really large TFT tournaments where people of all skill levels can enter and compete, and that's only going to happen when we provide the tooling to tournament organizers to run large events.
Now that we know that this is something that we want to invest in long-term, we'll be putting in the effort to make the experience of TFT Esports and everyone watching a much, much better experience.
The best part of Galaxy's competitive was just seeing the various regional leagues the tournament organizers in those regions and how they approach competitive TFT. One of the things that we heard loud and clear prior to Galaxies was they wanted higher stakes and an opportunity to showcase their skills on the biggest stages.
The ladder is a way for you to kind of get qualified for TFT tournaments and TFT qualifiers to then make your way up to the World Finals so that anyone and everyone has an option to be the best player for TFT.
The Galaxies Championship was created for just that purpose, and to give incentives and rewards for people to dedicate their time to competitive TFT, to give them a goal. And we think that it provided the community with a reason to fight for their place on the ladder, to push themselves, to learn all the sets, and to really keep their skills sharp. I think crowning the first region as TFT champion will be exciting, and giving a chance to see the best of the best compete. It's just one of these things with competition where those who got here through skill and hard work and determination, and seeing that pay off and taking home a title is something that I'm looking forward to seeing in TFT. I think that's the beauty of TFT, is it's competitive, it's strategic, but it's also a super fun experience, and I think it's able to bring a whole new generation and a new type of fan. Esports is accessible to everyone around the world, ideally.
Waylon mentions that passion, and that passion is ever abundantly present among the peeps that we've got on today's show. As your casters, we have Doa, Becca, and Crowan, with Primal joining us later on in the broadcast. Doa, I know time feels like it moves a little differently in 2020. Can you believe we're actually finally at the championship day?
I mean, it's kind of crazy, right? Because it feels like this set just came out. It kind of feels like it just came out, but it feels like it's been out for a long time as well. But I really love the 6-month system that they've got in mind, where you have a lot of time to kind of like digest and analyze the set, but there's this like big revamp during the middle. I think that's a really good way to approach the game, so I hope it continues with that. But yeah, it's amazing. We're here already. It's the first TFT championship, essentially, that's on a global scale, and so I'm really curious to see who takes it.
The very nature of the way TFT evolves always keeps you on your toes. I feel like that's how we felt throughout the entirety of the day. Becca and Crowan, I'm excited to be getting some words from you in a moment, but there's somebody else that we do have to introduce, and it's our analyst for the day. We do have Mort Dog, a staple for anyone familiar within the TFT scene. Hey, as somebody that is so close to TFT, both as a dev, creating content, watching the esports scene develop, what does it mean to you to finally see it all come through into reality?
It means a lot. We've been trying to get the game to be something that players enjoy and get the competitive scene going, and seeing the skill level that was expressed yesterday really shows that TFT can be a really fun, in-depth game and really cool competition to watch. So it really means a lot to me and the whole team.
Now, one of my favorite parts personally is getting to hear the dev perspective and breaking down these segments. So we'll get to hear from you later on throughout the broadcast as the games go down. But since this is the last time we'll hear from you before that happens, I'll give you a chance to kind of start thinking about who your predictions are going to be. Make sure you're sharing those in the Twitch chat more, because I'm sure everyone is excited to find out. But Becca, I know North America didn't make it through. You may be a bit upset about that. We're going to get some of those highlights on our screen in a moment, but you got some sleep in. Yeah, you got a little bit of a refresh. Are you feeling energized going in knowing there won't be any North America today?
Yeah, I mean, at least I won't be super biased today, so at least it'll be a more fair cast.
But I think there's so much to look forward to with what everyone's brought to the table. Crowan, are there any surprises that really stood out to you? I mean, VOLTARIUX, we see here, I think everyone expected to do well.
Oh yeah, I think, right as we see here on our screen, VOLTARIUX displayed such prowess yesterday in his TFT skill. All of Europe really did, actually, all three of them qualifying for the top 8. I'm excited to see what Europe and China can bring to the table today, because there's just so much good skill between the two regions there.
Yeah, I think the 8 players that we had make it through to day number 2 really were the players that played the best yesterday, and that's encouraging to see, and I think it's really tough to predict. I mean, EU has the greatest representation, right? But you've got so many good players from other regions, of course. 2 out of 3 Chinese players made it through. The player from Japan, SHOEMAKER, looks really good. The player from Korea, BOBAE, looks really good. I could list them all, but I was impressed by them all in different ways each time.
I think that was the interesting thing with everybody that came through to the top 16 being strong competitors individually. We really didn't know what to expect as far as a shakeup, but there were definitely some players that really stood out on top when it comes to consistently getting those top 4 placing in the lobby, in some cases even getting multiple wins back to back. But there is a lot that they're going to be fighting for today. Obviously, yesterday we had 10 straight games. That was concrete, 5 per each lobby. But today, things will be operating a bit differently. So if you need a refresher, we do have that readily available for you right now, because the top 8 players that will be competing will not necessarily have a set number of games. You first have to try to accumulate 18 plus points to put yourself in a position to grab a number 1 spot for that championship title. So it could be as short as 3 games. It could be as long as who the heck knows. It's all up to the players that we see today to determine exactly what we're in for. But it is excitement nonetheless. So once you get those points, you can secure that number 1 spot and officially grab the largest slice of that prize pool. $40,000 going to the number 1 finisher, a total of $200,000 that will be dispersed among all of the participants. Even if you didn't make top 8 here today and you just competed yesterday, you'll still be walking away with some kind of money in your pocket, which is nothing to scoff at. But I think more than anything else, the players are excited to have those bragging rights, being a part of the first official championship, the Galaxy Championship at that, and a crown to go with it. I know that I am super stoked. You'll be hearing from me throughout the rest of the day. You'll also be hearing from Primal, who will be joining later, and then Mort Dog that will be popping in with his analysis. But Doa and Becca, you're going to be the first 2 casting up on game number 1. I bet you are excited, ain't that right, Doa?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's few things in life I enjoy more than casting a game of TFT, so I'm excited to just jump into it, see what Galaxy we get, see what the players do. I mentioned yesterday, and I think it's worth mentioning again, that the meta is in a really good place. We have a very wide variety of compositions that the players can use, and so it should be fun. Becca, I'm going to ask you right now, though. I'm going to put you on the spot. Who do you think is going to win it?
Okay, who do I think is going to win it, or who am I rooting for?
No, not who you're rooting for. You have to be an analyst here. And just
right.
Pure brain, no heart. Who do you think's going to take it?
Well, I think VOLTARIUX is going to win, but I'm going to root for Korea, Brazil, or Japan.
All right.
That's who I'm rooting for.
So the brain versus the heart. I understand that. Okay.
Yeah, you're all laying it out.
Indeed. So before we get into the game, I think we need to kind of get to know some of our top 8 players a little bit better. And Avali had a chat with all of them, virtually, of course, but it was still interesting. Let's take a look.
Avali here with some of the TFT Galaxies Championship pros in person on a laptop. So tell me, who are you? Where are you from?
제 닉네임은 지보베이며 전라남도 고시에 거주하고 있습니다.
日本出身のシューメーカーです。
Je suis Eric Cacho et j'habite à Toulouse en France.
我游戏的 ID 叫卷子，然后我是陕西西安的人。
meu nick é SLOOPER e eu sou de Teresina, Piauí, no Brasil.
游戏名称是云顶最强ALPHAGO，我是江西人。
Congratulations on qualifying for the first ever TFT Global Finals. How does it feel to have made it?
とにかく楽しみたいと思います。
사실 많은 선수들을 대표로 국제대회에 나가는 게 부담스럽기도 하지만 되게 재밌는 것 같아요.
非常激动，非常开心，真的就是经过了这么多的鏖战，包括这么多的一层层选拔，从平台赛，包括到后来的一个全国赛，到现在全球赛，能终于夺冠，真的是心情非常非常激动，已经不知道该说什么了。现在。
Eu tô muito animado de ter conseguido chegar na final e a expectativa agora é jogar para ser campeão mundial de TFT. Eu acho que
心情是非常愉悦的，就是对，是非常愉悦的。
Who do you think is going to be your toughest competition?
卷子吧。
한국은 예전부터 e스포츠 강국이었고 그런 믿음을 지니신 분들의 믿음을 이어갈 수 있게 좋은 결과로 보여드리고 싶습니다.
Je pense que mon adversaire le plus rude pour moi sera BOBAE 61.
ALPHAGO， 如果我们这一组的话，应该是ALPHAGO。你让我说，我肯定觉得我们中国赛区肯定是最强的。
And what would becoming the first ever TFT Global Champion really mean for you?
证明自己吧，证明自己作为一个大龄人也能很好的把电竞玩透玩熟，
Ganhar o primeiro Mundial de TFT seria a realização de um sonho, seria poder coroar tudo que a gente fez durante esse primeiro ano de jogo e eu sinto que a gente tá bem preparado, eu tô muito confiante para poder jogar esse primeiro Mundial e quero poder trazer essa alegria para os meus amigos, para os meus fãs e poder ser o primeiro campeão mundial de TFT。
还是很开心、很激动吧，而且就是觉得不光是撸啊撸，包括云顶地、下棋，我们中国赛区都可以证明是非常强的一个选手，非常强力的。
제가 만약 우승하게 되면은 TFT라는 게임 역사에 남게 되는 거잖아요. 또 제 인생을 뒤바뀌어버릴 사건이 될 것 같아요.
もし優勝したら私個人というよりも日本というリージョン全体が注目されると思ってます。
Thank you so much for joining us, and back to you.
All right, well, there you have it. A lot of words from a lot of great players in TFT and a lot of excitement. Everybody wants to be the champion, right? But here are our top 8, Becca. Now, you mentioned that you thought that VOLTARIUX was going to take it all. Is there anyone else on this list you could say? Who'd your second choice be?
Well, honestly, I think a lot of the people that didn't get too much attention played really well because usually if you're in that like 3rd to 4th spot, you're usually playing from behind, right? And trying to make the best choices as you go. So I think people like SHOEMAKER and SLOOPER, who had such consistent scores throughout, are also like kind of hidden wild cards, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, actually. And those players are the type of players that can pop off. You know, if you look at a player like SHOEMAKER as well, stayed in the top 4 relatively, did get that number 1. And that's what it's going to take, right? You can be like, you know, a 3rd, 4th player. You can be in that top 4 for a couple games and then get that first place later. Because remember, if you get first place in game 1 and 2, you get a lot of points. You get closer to that 18-point threshold faster, but you can't actually win with that number 1. You have to get another number 1 later on. So at some point you need to get a first. And so being consistent early, keeping yourself tight with the pack, you know, will help a lot with that. In the last tournament that we had that had a format like this, I believe it took 5 games to crown a champion. And at that point, basically like, and that was Obo that we saw yesterday from Australia. But at that point, there were like, I think most of the people in the lobby, I think like 6 out of the 8 were qualified to possibly win with a first. So it's going to get really exciting. This is a really fun format to watch. I'm pretty pumped.
Do you think that it's going to be close as it was in the NAOC qualifier, or do you think it'll be more of a runaway in this tournament?
It's hard to say, right? Because you had JUANZI from China yesterday getting 3 first places in a row. But like that's the type of performance I don't think you can repeat. And I will say I thought personally the level of play in Group A was a little bit better than the level of play in Group B overall. Just noticed more like little mistakes as far as positioning, maybe slamming an item a little bit before, you know, you should have slammed something else. So just little things here and there that make me think the players from Group A have a little bit of an edge. But we'll see. What do you think? Which group impressed you more yesterday as we kind of go into game number 1 here?
So I was perusing Twitch chat and someone said,
no.
I'm not sure, it was Twitch chat, but someone in Twitch chat said that Volt was interviewed and said that his lobby was easier than US Challenger games. So I like the healthy amount of trash talk between each region. Like in the intro video, we could see that each region thought that their region was the best.
Naturally, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see who's actually going to be right at the end of this tournament.
Well, we'll find out. We're going to start out with VOLTARIUX on his board. We're, of course, in Plunder Planet, and in case you're not familiar with that, what that means is that the first enemy champion that you kill every lobby has a really high chance of dropping a gold for you, and then ones after that still have a chance, but a lesser one. So basically what that amounts to is if you're winning, you're going to be making more gold. That's going to kind of accelerate the gameplay. So this is a lobby where you can kind of see players play a little bit more aggressively because win streaking is more important here. But we'll see how people handle it. I feel like this is a lobby where you can, you know, get way behind the rest of the pack, or you can just get way ahead depending on your early results, you know?
Yeah. Also, I feel like a lot of people kind of sleep on the early game, but it's always interesting to see which item each player goes for on the carousel. So Volt went for the tier, and you're just wondering, is he going to go for the blue buff into one of those more flexible comps? Here we have Lev with the Zaya and the glove, and 4 Zayas already.
All right.
Actually 5. Do you see it? There's
wow.
another one in the shop.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, he has a good shredder start.
Yeah, exactly. So that might be, I mean, that's pretty much what you want. All right, the rod is not as good, but still, pretty decent start either way. You can throw the rod on Jarvan or something, but we should probably introduce all of our players here. Lev D comes to us from the EU region. Of course, I believe he's from Denmark. He went 7-3-3-4-3 yesterday, so very consistent results, and that'll keep you in the running, but you need to get a first at some point. So I think that's going to be his challenge, is, you know, finding that first place. Yep.
Yep. So, I mean, with a 5 Xayah start, do you think you're just being baited into it if you don't happen to get some more AD items?
Absolutely. Okay. Yep. Now it's starting to feel like that. Although I will say, so you could go another Xayah too and like put a static shiv on her if you get a bow. That's pretty good. But I don't know. Would you still think about playing this out? Because here's the thing. You can rely on the Xayah 2 early on, that's fine, and then still build towards like Cybernetics or something, which is something that Lev D played 3 out of his 5 games yesterday, actually. So wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, really? Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like with these items he's going to be going the Xayah carry comp.
Probably not.
He also had a lot of Cybers in his shop, and here we're seeing Double 61, the youngest player in the tournament.
Yeah, supposedly he is 16 years old. He's competing, and you know, we've seen champions as we see him go up against SLOOPER from Brazil for his first PvP round. But we've seen a lot of young champions in esports in the past. Faker, the famous League of Legends player from Korea, won his first championship at 15, and other players have won championships at that age as well. So hey, you know, it's a time in your life when you've maybe got the time to be good at games. So why not? He's certainly talented.
Yeah. So he starts with the Vanguards and the Caitlyn, and he's against SLOOPER, who looked like he was playing Brawler Battlecast. Just early synergies.
Yeah, looking at his bench, that looks likely.
Yeah. Okay,
and we're going to jump over to SLOOPER as we go through all of our players here in game number 1, just to kind of refresh your memory with who we've got in the top 8. SLOOPER comes to us from Brazil. He ended up going 6-3-3-2-3 yesterday, so pretty solid day of results again. He played a lot of Star Guardian Sorcerer builds, played that 3 out of his 5 games. So we'll see what he's got in mind for this time.
Yeah, I really respect Doa. Actually, Doa went ahead and put together a list of every comp that each player played for the crew, and I just wanted to shout him out because I think it helps a lot with keeping track of what the players like to play.
Oh, thanks. I do it for every tournament.
Yeah,
'cause I like to see what they play.
That SLOOPER played a different comp every game.
Well, I was talking about SHOEMAKER with that when we were chatting a little bit earlier. And I guess technically he he didn't, but he had like a fast 8 that was sort of like a half chrono, half cyber thing. So he was probably going to play cybers that game. So I guess that would have been 2 cyber games for SHOEMAKER, but still he seemed the most diverse out of our players as far as compositions go. But SLOOPER, yeah, I think all of these players have a chance to take it, frankly. And it would be cool to see a player from Brazil take it too, because of that country's huge history in League of Legends, a lot of talented players coming from there, and it's just a big esports country, and I've always wanted a chance to go there. So hopefully they will continue to grow in esports, and I'll have my opportunity at some point.
Yeah, I feel like the Brazilian community is so united and so passionate. Every time you see any Brazilian player in a tournament, you'll see like amazing support coming out from the fans. Also, we see Lev with 6 Xayahs already.
Yeah, he's going for it.
2 Xayah 2s in.
All right. I mean, you can definitely do it. It's like the game is kind of pushing you that direction, right? But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it works out. We've got BOBAE on the screen right now. Got the Graves 2 early, which is kind of nice. Able to use that blind to take on the Xayah. But BOBAE is our representative from South Korea. The weight of the world's greatest esports region rests on his shoulders. And he knows it, right? He was saying like he wants to leave like the next step in the legacy for Korean esports. He had an up and down day yesterday. He went 6-1-4-1-8 and played a good amount of different comps. But what stood out to me is that he actually played 2 Battlecast reroll comps yesterday, which was interesting. And he went 4th and he went 8th in those 2 games. So I wouldn't recommend it, but we might see more of that from him today.
Yeah, I'm curious to know if Battlecast is actually that popular in Korea, because I think we also saw Panda play it and go for the Battlecast, or if they just happen to roll a lot of Battlecast units early.
I always feel like a little bit scared when the game is trying to get me to go Battlecast. I'm like, I know you're giving me a lot of Cogmas, but I just never have good results with that build. I don't know. I think it's cool, but I always do bad.
You think it's cool? You always do bad with it.
I wish I did better. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
I like the build, but the build doesn't like me, I guess.
Yeah, I felt the same way
ahead.
about the build. I felt the same way.
So this is SHOEMAKER from Japan, of course. Really cool to see Japan get some representation in this tournament because they're obviously like one of the biggest, if not like the original video game nation, right? But just hasn't been as big in the PC gaming culture as far as the games that we've seen in North America anyway. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff in Asia that they'll play that doesn't quite make it over to North America, but they're mostly known, of course, for fighting games, right? And for console-based things. So it's neat to see games like Valorant, TFT getting really big in Japan. SHOEMAKER played really well yesterday. 2-6, 1-8-2 was his 5-game score lines, and played a little bit of everything, honestly.
Yeah, but that's actually the kind of scoreline you need to win, right? Some really good games.
Definitely.
So I think a lot of people were wondering why some of the Asian players have masks on, and I think we were told that a lot of the Asian players are in like the Riot Games studios.
Right.
So that would explain why they have masks on. They are not at home.
It's for the safety of others. That's right. Not wearing a mask in his very, very barren living room. Apparently, no, he's actually in an office. I would imagine his bedroom where his computer actually is has like a bunch of cool stuff there, not just a blank white wall.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Moving on. Let's talk about. Wait. Who is this? Let me see who's board. I don't recognize the faces of all the players yet. I'm sorry. I've only had one day of experience with them. It's going to be ALPHAGO, of course. Yep, that's right. And so ALPHAGO yesterday, he's one of the players that I thought did well, but he always seemed like one step behind JUANZI. He went 2-8-2-3-1. So he did get a first. And honestly, that score line would win it for you, right? Because he would have hit that 18 points and he would have gotten a first. So definitely a threat.
I think he actually ended up going first in his lobby. Am I wrong?
I think he did, yeah. He did end up going first in his lobby, but it just seemed like an individual game by game. At least the games that JUANZI tried in, he was always like a little bit ahead of ALPHAGO, it seemed like. Yeah, JUANZI's
that was a pretty legendary moment when JUANZI just obviously did not try anymore after the third game.
And here he is on our screen right now. We'll watch JUANZI for a while here. He is another one of our players from China. And he won 3 games in a row yesterday. And then he got 2 8s in a row. And it seemed like after he got all 3 wins, he was like, all right, I'm just going to go on cruise control. I'm just going to take it easy. He kind of, casually rolled a couple Space Pirates in games 4 and 5 and got 8 both times. But he did also get first with Space Pirates in one of his games, too. So I think he just wanted to conceal his true strength for the last couple games.
Yeah, if you were in a tournament like this, would you... I guess you would want to hide any comp that you're really comfortable with as much as you can, just so that people don't know your range. But at the same time, I'm not sure how much other people will take that to heart, like what comp you're playing.
Yeah, I don't know. It was interesting. I've never really seen a player do that before, but we'll see. I'm really wondering right now about the Fizz in his shop. He did play 2 mech games yesterday. But I believe, I was trying to remember, he's got Protectors, Sorcerers going on right now. So it looks like he's already got a pretty strong line to follow with this. Good items, too.
So I thought he was going to make the Ionic Spark first. But I guess the Gunblade is better for streaking, especially on Plunder Planet, when you want to make sure you're getting as many kills as you can.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think in Plunder Planet, you always have to try to prioritize winning above all else. So whatever you can do to make that happen. And new Hex Tech is really good with Ari and like Cinder and stuff like that. So no shock there.
I think JUANZI's already at 40 gold. He's at 50 gold. Okay, he is so rich.
Yep.
Whenever you play this Galaxy and you start low rolling, I feel like it's really devastating because you can't really lose streak and keep up with other people because they're just so much stronger than you. With their win streaks.
Yeah, it does get really tough. And, you have some players sometimes where, they'll be able to keep up because they do kill a champion or two, even if they do lose. But if you're winning, you just have so many more chances to roll that gold. That yeah, it can get a little bit lopsided here. What do you think about VOLTARIUX and his Blitzcrank 2 and Blitzcrank 1 on the board here?
I think he just plays his strongest board, and he's probably just thinking that displacement is gonna like account for any fodder units they have in the corner. So if there's 2, it's really likely you catch a carry. Also, if you look at JUANZI's shop, he has the Rumble and the Annie, and he had the Fizz last shop. Yeah, I wonder if these players even give it a second thought. Because I know I do. I have like,
me
regrets.
too, all the time. Yeah. I'm like, I knew I should have bought that Fizz. Like, the game just does that to you sometimes. You're like, oh, fine, you don't... I was nice, and I gave you an early forecast that's really useful. Fine, you don't want to use it? Well, here's the other stuff that would have made it awesome. There, how do you feel now? That's what TFT does to you sometimes, I think.
Makes you live in the past. But I feel like these better players probably don't think about it too much.
Yeah, I have a very love-hate relationship with TFT, or maybe the game has a love-hate relationship with me too. Is when it comes to shops, it's all love with everything else. When it comes to shops, I don't know. So
Lev
Levdi
is
right
one
now,
away. Yeah.
Yeah, really close to that Xayah 3, and I wonder if he's gonna roll a little bit here to try to complete that. He is 5, so he's a little bit outside the range to really get a lot of those 1 costs, but it's still a 40% chance. So. You've still got a pretty good shot.
Yeah, was he close to any of the other 3-star units?
Sort of. Yeah, not super close. Like, if I'm 1 away, I'd probably roll for it. But like, if you look at the other stuff, Jarvan's, he's still a ways away. Shen's, he's still a ways away. Fiora doesn't really matter that much. So I don't think this is a situation where you hyper roll it. But would you just like slow roll through 5 with this? That's kind of what I'd be tempted to go for.
Yeah, I think you just keep slow rolling, at least until you hit Xayah, and I think that's where you have to make the decision on whether or not you're going to roll for more. But I would assume since he is so far, he would just start leveling. What would you do? I'm genuinely not sure.
I would give
I'm not
it
sure
like,
if it's strong enough.
You know, honestly, I don't like this build very much personally. I just don't enjoy playing it, so I don't have as much experience with it. But it does kind of feel like it's a time. There you go. Now I think you can level. Because you've got the Xayah 3, right? So that should sustain you for a while. So yeah, and you can see him throwing a little bit of gold into leveling. Still staying above 50, but yeah, he will actually go up to 6. Okay, yeah, I thought so. That does seem like the time to level when you hit that Xayah 3. That actually worked out really well for him.
Yeah, he did lose a lot of HP. He's already at 62 health. But with the 2 Shens on the board, I would think now he has a strong enough front line for Xayah to crank through these units. Yeah. Oh, 2 Shens.
WTF 2 Shens. Oh my gosh, I haven't said that in a while.
Wait, we're showing our age, our esports age.
Wait, our age? What? That was my broadcast that started on.
Exactly.
What are you implying here? Don't make me bring back the Shen cosplay. All right, well, there's another Jarvan. Lev D is just kind of naturaling a lot of this stuff. So it looks like things are on track for him to maybe start win streaky a bit more. So we're going to move over to our top player in the lobby right now, which is maybe to the surprise of no one, VOLTARIUX. Again, he does tend to trend towards Rebels a little bit. He played Rebels 2 games yesterday, games 2 and 5. He does enjoy this comp, it seems like. And he's doing really well with it. But it seems like Rebels, if you hit pretty early, is one of those comps that you can kind of win streak through the early and mid game with, huh?
Yeah, especially with the Ludens on Ziggs. I know Grand Vice 8, an NA player, really advocates building the early Ludens on Ziggs to win streak. Especially, I mean, and if you're trying to win streak, this is the best Galaxy to do it on.
Oh, definitely. So on track to keep this going. And remember, he was running those 2 Blitzcranks earlier as well. So the really fun thing about watching VOLTARIUX, I think, that we were talking about yesterday too, is that he just seems exceptionally good at playing best board. And like, best board is like a term you hear all the time from every player in a lot of situations. Like, oh, you just want to play your best board. But like, VOLTARIUX is one of the few players I think that really has mastered that concept in TFT, where he'll find like, he'll really min-max it to a level that I see very few players do.
I completely agree. I think it's something that a lot of players should aspire towards. Being able to actually understand what's the best board to play is a much harder skill than people would think.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not just it's not just playing the synergies. It's not just playing the upgraded units. Yeah.
Well, it's a lot of positioning things. It's a lot of you know, can I maybe build an item that feels a little bit unorthodox, but if I really want a win streak, I build it right now. All that kind of stuff. And he's going to go really fast 8 at 4-1. Okay. That's really quick.
Yeah.
But he did this yesterday too. Yeah.
4-1, level 8, 20 gold. So I guess he just wants the double Ludens. He wants to keep his streak going.
Yeah. Well, he's
Ooh,
probably
the
building
item
towards
slams.
that Aurelion Soul later too. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Just slamming everything. I mean, he's got so it looks like the Blitzcrank you would replace with a Gangplank later on if you could, or possibly a Rumble if he comes across that. And then the Ziggs you'd have to imagine is probably going to become an Aurelion Soul at some point, right?
When I'm playing Rebels, I tend to always go with the Gnar if I am playing a brawler over the Blitzcrank, but you are losing the Chrono buff. And I'm curious to see if VOLTARIUX would switch it out with the Gnar, because I just really like the CC that it gives and like the displacement for the backline.
Yeah, it's a really good question because, and especially then the other thought is like Gnar 1, is that worth it over Blitzcrank 2? I would guess probably not, but yeah, not Gnar 1. So you'd have to wait until you find a Gnar 2. So then you're kind of holding a lot of gold on your bench, but we'll see. So he does pick up the Rumbles. That was the other thing that we were talking about that you might swap that Blitzcrank out for, is so you can get that Demolitionist buff and that other frontliner. And the Rumble ult is just so good, obviously.
Yeah, just such a strong standalone unit, and then add on the demo synergy. It's very strong. This is also something we saw VOLTARIUX do yesterday, where he had carry items on Zed, if you remember, and I thought that he was going to sell it and put the items onto Jinx, but he didn't, and he ended up going first in that lobby.
That was the lobby where he ended up with like 2 GP2s, right?
Jinx.
If I remember right. Yeah, he had the Shaco in there as well. Oh, Infiltrator Jinx. No, you're right. Yeah, that's right.
Jinx, yeah.
That was crazy.
I wonder if he's gonna do that again.
I guess
because it's not like IE and a sword are the best items on Jinx.
Right. Well, if you don't put items on her, you might as well just do it for the Infiltrator buff. But things going well for VOLTARIUX, so let's check out a player with for whom things are not going so well. BOBAE down at the very bottom of the lobby, 25 points or 25 hit points left for him, which is not great, we'll say. But does he have a chance to come back? That's the question.
It looks like he's mostly positioning for Lev, right? Oh no.
Yeah, he has to. I mean, either way, he has to try to position for somebody, right? Because he's all in on the Shaco, and he's got arguably perfect items on the Shaco. So this could start popping off. Yeah. He's sacrificed a lot to get here, but I like it.
It's a little rough when you're playing against Cybers. I mean, I know that eventually Cybers can do okay, but but yeah, like I mean,
you're not wrong, Becca, but then the Shaco 2 conundrum comes into it, where it's like,
I was like gonna finish my point, and then I was like, well, no. I guess this is
welcome
just,
to being
a
caster.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get more comfortable with it, but it's been really fun.
The first rule of casting is like whatever you decide to talk about, the opposite will happen in the game when you're talking about it. That's generally how it goes.
Yeah, that's how that felt. I was like, okay,
pretty much.
Can I just go back in time now?
Nope, there's no takebacks. No, unfortunately, it's gonna be a Reddit thread now. There's nothing you can do.
Okay, so he does have he has Celestial, which I think is a little redundant because his carry does have the Bloodthirster.
Yeah, for sure.
But now he has the Jhin in, and Jhin does so well, we all know, with the Celestial buff.
Yep. Huge for Jhin, because he does such big chunks of damage, so you get a lot, even if it's a lower percentage. I think it's like still, 15% for Celestial right now?
Yeah.
I'm already forgetting all my set 3 synergy numbers, because my mind is starting to shift over to set 4.
I know, you've been really into the set 4 grind.
I've been playing a lot. I played like, I think 12 games on the first day or something like that. It was awesome.
It's really fun.
I love it. I haven't played in the last 2 days because I've been focused on this, but as soon as this is over today, it's all set 4. But let's watch.
I still want to play Big Bang Galaxy.
Yeah, me too. I'm still gonna play a little bit of set 3, but you know. Shaco?
Okay,
Shaco?
he one-shot the Vayne.
Yep,
What was that?
he's gonna do it again.
That was probably not Vayne.
VOLTARIUX, like, you can tell he's collecting his coins because his little legend starts running a little bit faster. But so this is cool though for BOBAE, because he was really low. He sacrificed a lot of HP. He was able to get carousel priority. He zeroed in on the Shaco being his way out of a fast 8, and he might have just done it. That's a couple round wins in a row. He's got a win streak going now. Goes to 8 on 4-6. A little bit later than a normal, you know, fast 8, but it's not too bad. You're still hitting it before 5-2, and he's got a pretty solid comp going right now.
Yeah, something I've noticed newer players do is that they won't level the round right before a PvE round, because they've heard so often that it's better to have a lot of gold going into it for the interest. Sure. But at the HP level that BOBAE is at, it's definitely his health is definitely more valuable than the gold is. So I like that he leveled here. Try to get a little stronger, get the mystics in. Tarak is a great unit in and of itself as well.
Yeah, that's a really good point actually. That when it comes down to this point in the game, your HP is more important than anything else. Ooh, that Vayne. Can he win? No. I was going to say G8 got popped a little bit early there. See, there you go. You were talking about cybernetics being pretty decent against this, and there's a good example of that where...
Exactly. There I should have started saying it. But yeah, when your Shaco gets onto the Vayne and you're just hoping he might just randomly kill her, but she always gets her ult off and survives for too long.
Yep, that's the thing. So, BOBAE trying to stabilize a little bit here, and I would say he's pretty stable unless he runs into more of those situations, and even then, when you've got this Shaco too with these items, you can basically beat any board if the Shaco doesn't get the GA popped early. You know, if that happens, then you're in trouble. So positioning is super important. We've seen him be pretty good at it, and we'll have to kind of keep track as we look through other players in the lobby here to see if he holds on.
Yeah, he's actually been really diligent about his positioning. We watch him whenever he's positioning. He has a unit. He has the unit that he wants to, like the shrouded unit, the Jarvan 4. He always has it in his hand. He's like ready to move it to wherever he needs as soon as he sees the opponent that he thinks he's gonna play.
Right. That's what you got to do. Well, let's check in again with SLOOPER here. And SLOOPER did play one game of Battlecast reroll in Game 3 yesterday. But it didn't go. It didn't end up quite like this. This is actually 6 Battlecasts here. He found the Kog'Maw 3, but is this comp good enough to break into the top 4 or maybe win? I'm still not convinced. Looks like he's gonna win this round, but I don't know. I know Battlecast seems like a good trait, but I am just never convinced as far as it being like a consistent comp.
I don't know. He does have 6 in already. He has 6 in, really and good. We did see a lot of. Well, it felt like. Multiple Vayne carries, and it is targeted damage that's coming out of the Battlecast, so it doesn't seem like the worst thing, especially, and also against the Shaco, it is also targeted damage against some of these mobile carries. So maybe it'll work out fine. He probably just wants to get in Mystics now if he can fit it.
I mean, the really nice thing for him is that he hit that Urgot fairly early. We're going to jump on board with JUANZI right now, who is down at 8th, and so it's a battle for survival. Went with the Star Guardian Sorcerer build, and his board does not look that bad, honestly. He's got the 2 stars where he needs it, but maybe just a little bit too late as he goes against BOBAE here. And it's all about the Nico right now, CCing this Shaco.
Yeah, the Nico really locked down that Shaco.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
wow, that was close.
Shaco could have killed that Syndra a little earlier.
Yep.
But that's it for BOBAE for this round.
Well, that's the thing. If you're playing Star Guardian Sorcerer, pack everything around that Syndra so that the Shaco can't jump on her. You can see it worked out pretty well. BOBAE, our representative from South Korea, out in 8th in his first game. That doesn't mean he's out of luck. It is a rough start, though, as he's only going to get 1 point, so still needs 17 to hit that threshold to unlock the win with the first place. But I'm curious about what JUANZI is going to do here as far as positioning goes, because there's only kind of so much you can do with this build, and it's hard to move everything, right?
Yeah, so he has units on top of all, like, completely surrounding his carry Syndra.
Yeah.
Sometimes I see people move the Nico a little bit, but I guess... Oh, okay, his Nico just got eaten by the Urgot. So now his backline is exposed, but it looks It looks like it's fine. The Jenna got her ult off a few times.
Yeah, you lose all that crowd control, which is really rough when the Nico goes down early like that. But like I said, thankfully for him, the Syndra is able to handle a lot of the lower HP targets on the Battlecast side, and where Battlecast relies on healing up over time with that trait, it's kind of vulnerable to big damage spikes like the Syndra ultimate. So that's a pretty good matchup for Star Guardians, I think, in general.
Yeah, and we see JUANZI go for the Shroud on the carousel, and it's really good because he's playing Star Guardian. He doesn't want other people to be shrouding him easily, so he's just taking that away from others. And on top of that, it's just a really awesome item. It's like a game-changing item.
Yeah, especially at this point in the game, where people's comps are kind of online, so if you can hit them with something like that, you can win rounds, frankly. And he needs to do nothing but win rounds if he wants to stay in this lobby.
Yeah, just delaying some of the bigger ults, like a Janna ult or Urgot ult, makes such a huge difference.
He doesn't have any room on his Nico right now, which is fine because Nico has awesome items. But I wonder what he's going to put the Shroud on. Would you maybe put it on the Rakan because it's more mobile? What would you do?
I think Rakan because you can kind of put him anywhere.
Yeah.
Rakan or even Zoe or Soraka, but I think probably Rakan.
Yeah, I think that's what he would prefer. He's going to wait to place it until the round begins so that he can get optimal placement for the first one. But, I think if in a perfect world you could put the Rakan. Looks like it's going to go on the Lulu this time. So hits a lot of VOLTARIUX's Rebels here. Nico gets a pretty good first ult off. Wow, VOLTARIUX actually did find the Aurelion Soul too with the double Ludens. That's huge.
Yeah, but that Janna ult was humongous.
Yeah.
Hit all of his own teammates and hit the entire enemy team.
Well, this is the strength of the Star Guardians comp when you get the Janna online, is that it just rolls through everything so fast. But that said, you look at the top 4 right now, or top 3. 2 out of the 3 are from EU. So Europe looking pretty good in lobby number 1. Levdi TROTSKIJ currently on a win streak, up in first place even. So as far as
really close to falling.
Yeah, it looks a little bit rough for China right now in the first game. Scouting. Cybernetics.
It looks like JUANZI thinks he might be playing against Alpha here. He kind of kept focusing on his board. Oh,
ends up hitting Shoemaker. Yeah, you can make a better educated guess at this point in the round because you've played so many matches at this point. But yeah, his positioning turned out okay though. But the thing is, if that Janna ult goes off, you're going to be so strong. He's even got the Xerath in there. Yeah, that'll be an easy round win. And, oh no, ALPHAGO knocked out in 7th. And ALPHAGO, he had a really good results yesterday overall. And he did take 1/8 in game 2, but aside from that, pretty good.
Yeah, and we see SLOOPER dropping down to 2 with the Battlecast.
Yeah.
Oof.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, I just feel like this Battlecast comp, like, I've seen it win. I know it can be good, but just in general, it feels like a 4 through 6 comp. You know what I mean?
Yeah, unless you hit the miraculous 8th Battlecast with the specs.
Yeah. Very true. So it's gonna be okay. So RFC from Kane. So that's something I suppose you can just throw on the Janna just to make her go off a little bit faster. But so it looks like JUANZI is stabilized for now. So let's move on and check out what Levdi has been up to. He's been going 6 Blade Master, focusing on this Xayah carry. So not quite Shredder, but just a different variation of the 6 Blade Master. What do you think about this fully stacked Shen 3? I love it.
I think it is really good. But also I think this is just Shredder, the Shredder build, 6 Blade Master, Xayah carry.
Yeah, I guess my mind still thinks of like Shredder being like a build with Jarvan, but you're right, you don't really see that much anymore.
Yeah, you're right. I see. Yeah, I mean, I think the Shen is such a good unit. They also buffed Shen a few patches back. Oh, he just got a little wrecked by the Syndra.
He got bodied by JUANZI. Man.
Yeah. I mean, against the comp like that where he tends to be all clumped up, the Janna's just going to do so much work.
Yeah. Pretty much. You kind of need, and I mean, honestly, Blade Masters I've always felt has been a comp that's always suffered a little bit versus Star Guardians. just because of all that crowd control, and Blade Masters has traditionally done a little bit worse for that. If you can slow down their Blade Masters doing all the damage, then you will be in a position where you can just beat them pretty easily, because nothing's very tanky on that comp, you know?
Yeah, I remember they used to play Shredder with the QSS on Xayah until everyone, all the high elo players would say that as long as you position Xayah well, she doesn't need the QSS. But I think with the number of Jannas, I think it's not. I guess Janna ult's a little too late for it to be super useful. Still.
Yeah, I suppose. VOLTARIUX versus JUANZI. These are two of the better players we saw yesterday, and JUANZI in trouble. And that Syndra, can she get the 2 kills? She can. Oh
my goodness.
Yeah.
Wait, is JUANZI gonna come back all the way? He's in the.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Top 4 now.
Yeah, top 4 has been decided. SHOEMAKER, LevD, JUANZI, and VOLTARIUX. So 2 from EU, our player from Japan, and SHOEMAKER, and JUANZI, who we now know after the intro that if the Chinese players don't do well today, they've got careers in acting to fall back on. Apparently, that video was amazing.
Yeah, JUANZI was really good in that promotional video. His dabs were on point. Okay, so I actually can't remember what SHOEMAKER was playing. Cybers, I think SHOEMAKER was Cybers.
So
we have a Cyber player, Rebel player, Shredder player, and a Star Guardian player. So it's actually all different comps, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, meta's in a good place right now.
Yeah.
Oh, that Riven, though. Look at the items on that LevD toss on it. And that is the end of VOLTARIUX. So EU versus EU. LevD retaking the #1 spot for the moment. We're going to jump over to his view to see if he can close out this game. He's got the HP lead going into the 6-4 carousel, but can he beat the Star Guardians of JUANZI and the Cybers of SHOEMAKER? That's the question.
Yeah, for Volt, it was a little unfortunate because he had to play against that Shen 3, and it's really, really hard for Jinx carry to get through it, so it's hard for her to really deal enough damage into that.
Right.
So
what do you
got
think?
The Runons. I'm not sure who he's planning on putting that Runons on. Maybe he's hoping for a Thresh to put so they could proc the Mana Reaver. So maybe he'll put it on Aurelia. Yeah.
I guess you'd rather have the Thresh in than the Darius, but maybe the Lulu would be a little bit better right now. What do you think? Would you prioritize Lulu ability over Mana Reaver? That's a tough call.
No, I think he picked up the Runons specifically to spread that Mana Reaver proc, I think. So
yeah, that makes sense.
He's definitely not going to play that Lulu. Yeah, he wants to Mana Reave as much as he can against JUANZI. It's looking
working for the moment.
Pretty close.
Can he close it out?
Oh, Syndra got Lulu ulted, so she's been slowed down. Oh no, okay, she killed Xayah, but she's about to die.
One more ult. That's Shendo, super tanky. Janna versus Lulu and Soraka.
Janna versus
all right, support combat.
Wait, Lulu got the ult off, but she's also CC'd. It's overtime now. All right, GG.
And
oh my goodness, that was so close.
And he always loves to pop. He loves to pop out of his chair and like get out of there as soon as the game ends.
Yeah, he just likes this dip.
He goes and like does like a 100-meter sprint or something just to get like his heart racing and his brain like powered up again for the next one. Oh, Darius too. It's 6-6. He found it, but it's gonna be LevD versus SHOEMAKER.
He found the
so
Thresh.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's gonna be a bit better than the Darius, because you can pull the Urgot in as well, of course.
Okay.
This is a matchup I feel like I haven't seen very often.
Yeah, I mean, I think we just, neither of us see too much Shredder nowadays.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember how this one generally goes.
Okay, so if Echo ults during a Blade Master's proc, he'll just target them completely. And I think Echo died before ulting.
Yeah, looks like that. Xayah doing a lot of damage here. The Lulu ult was really big, actually.
The Lulu ult was huge, too.
Yeah, Lulu, too.
Yeah.
CC so strong, and that'll do it. So, LevD winning game #1. Really strong build he put together, and showing us kind of a different 6 Blade Master look than we see. You know, everyone talks about the Master Yi carry and all that kind of stuff, but that was a little bit different. The Xayah carry, the sort of the evolution of the Shredder build. I think you're right where it's maybe not Shredder in a classic way, but it's still sort of the same vibe, right? Where it's like everything is there to empower the Xayah. Build.
Yeah, it's just like the late game Shredder build where you decide that the Jarvan buff isn't worth it anymore. And then at the end, I think the Shen really carries too against Vayne. The Vayne can't get through the Shen. So unless she has like an RFC, then I think that fight was probably just always going to end that way.
Yeah, I
That's
think
really
there's
good.
other little things there too. Like if you have a way to target their Lulu 2 on the other side, that gets really scary because you look at like the difference between Lulu 1 and Lulu 2. Like Lulu 1, you're not as concerned about it because it takes her so long for her ability to go off. But Lulu 2, that's like a serious concern. So it didn't seem like the not crowd control, but like ability control wasn't there as much on the Shoemaker side as far as like mana drain, that kind of stuff for the Shroud. Let's take a look at some highlights from that first game and relive some of the best memories of the last 20 to 25 minutes or so. Let's see. Yeah, all right. Well, we did see 6 Battlecasts, didn't we? That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We actually saw such a wide variety of comps in that last game.
Yeah, we really did. And that's, again, that's just like one of the reasons why I've really, really loved the latter half of Set 3 for the most part, is that the meta just really opened up like 2 patches ago, and we've seen people be so good with so many things.
Yeah, I think the balance team really pulled it out at the end. Sadly, a lot of people were already like super like ready to play Set 4, so I think this gets a little underappreciated, but this patch has been pretty awesome.
Yeah, for like those of us who really are like in the competitive scene, this has been like a really, really great month or two. If you've been following some of the tournaments, if you've been playing on the ladder yourself, it's been feeling good. But
yeah, because we came into this.
Yeah.
Because we came into this thinking that we were going to see so much Star Guardian, and we just haven't. We've just been seeing players play whatever they get.
Yeah, there's been a little bit of it. We did see one game yesterday, like what it was, a game 1 of Lobby B, where everyone was really contesting it. We saw like 3 Star Guardian players, but that was the only time we saw kind of oversaturation for that comp in this tournament so far. But it's still definitely good. It's pretty insane, actually, that JUANZI was able to take this from like sub 10 HP and ride the 4 HP hype train all the way up to like a 3rd place finish.
Yeah, he went from 4 HP and 8th, which just means one bad fight with bad RNG would mean he's out of it, but he made it all the way to 3rd. Really like tight positioning, having to make sure everything's in the right spot.
Yep, he's done a good job of navigating low HP situations. Let's
and here
check
we just
out...
see the Vayne stuck there. Yeah, the Vayne just stuck on the Shen forever.
That's exactly what you want if you're Lev D. That's why the Shen is there.
Yep.
And Lev D TROTSKIJ from Denmark getting the win in game number 1 with a bit of 6 Blade Master Shredder action.
Yep. I keep getting proven wrong that Shredder is really good. It just means I can't play this comp.
No, I totally know what you mean, because since it's evolved into this version of it, I've been terrible with it too. And so I'm like, Master Yi is better, you know. But honestly, if you're really good, if you know what you're doing, this comp can be strong too. But I think a lot of what did it was just a really, really stacked Shen 3 holding up the front line, giving Xayah the time, you know. So this is our top 8 right now, and I guess you're going to sit the next one out, Becca?
Yep, see you guys next game.